quiet? She's filming? Okay, I don't have enough copies for everybody, but what's important is...
Okay, we're getting started, please.
What's important is just the measurements for your flange. Let me start from the beginning. I'm going to be showing you how to do a binding and then how to do the flange, okay? So I have some demos here. So with a binding, I know a lot of people are kind of confused. Here's your binding. You're going to sew your binding. Now I usually start it in the middle of your quilt, okay, because you have to connect it at the end. And Levy is going to teach you how to connect it, okay? Anyway, you're going to sew it, and you're going to sew it 1/4 of an inch from the end. I don't know if a lot of you do that. And if you don't know, just mark it with your ruler, okay? Because sometimes you can't eyeball it. And then you're going to go up at an angle to that corner. Okay, do you all do that? Yes. Okay, good. I don't have to teach you much. So then you're going to fold it like this, okay? You're going to fold it like this and make sure that it's even. If you have this part up, you're going to have a mess, okay? It won't come out nice and crisp, because I know I've done that. So once you've done that, then, do I hit this one? No, I don't. Then you're going to sew down here. I'm going to start up here. Sometimes I double stitch. I would. You double stitch and go all the way down until you get down to your next corner again. Okay. So there we go. So I have that. Now I don't know if a lot of you do this, but this leaves bulk. You cut it.
I don't.
You cut it right here at an angle. You see that? Okay. Because when you go to turn this, you're going to have a much crisper corner. And it's going to meet. Okay, it should meet. If it doesn't, kind of fool with it till it meets, and then it's nice. When you go to sew it, when you finish the whole thing all around, you go to sew it, you're going to stitch that corner on one side, bring your needle through, and stitch this down on the other side. If you are going to show your quilts for competition, that's really important, okay? And it keeps that, after washing and all that, it keeps it together, okay?
So you do it by hand?
I do it by hand.
Oh, by
Okay.
hand.
Well, you can do it by machine too.
How do you?
But
The wrong
I don't,
side, right?
Yeah, I don't do that by machine. I would hand do it actually. Yeah. Okay, but you could machine sew it down. And I use what you call the serpentine, which is like this, because it catches all this. So anyway, that's what's really important is that. Okay, any questions on that?
So you don't do your binding to flip the other way into your quilt?
Well, no, I do it this way.
Oh,
Okay.
I've always done it the other way.
No.
You could do either way.
You can't, but let me show you.
when you hand
Let me show you the flange, okay, which is different, but you can. But you're going to have your stitches on your back side. Or, you know, if you aren't real good at it, it's not going to show up. Okay. All right.
Madeline, how wide do you make your binding?
I make my strips 2.5. Some people do 2 1/4. I've tried both. I like the 2.5 because you're going to do a 1/4 inch seam. Okay. Now that's just on the regular binding. On the flange, totally different. Okay. Which I don't know if a lot of you have ever done flange.
No, what's a flange?
Okay, I'll show you. A flange looks like this, where you're going to have your binding and you're going to have a contrasting color. Okay. You may not do that on all your quilts. They're nice on baby quilts. It just adds, and it's not any more work, trust me. Okay. So, who wants a copy?
Teresa, let me know.
That's okay.
Posted online.
Yeah, probably. All you're really interested are the measurements, guys. Give one to
Yoli?
Yoli. Yeah. Okay. we're gonna, okay, if you have pens or anything, you can write this down. Okay, for one of the flange bindings, okay, you're gonna take your binding fabric, instead of cutting it 2 1/2 or 2 1/4. Are you listening? Hello, everybody, quiet, please. You're gonna cut your strips, your binding strip, 1 1/2 inches wide. Okay, you're gonna cut your piping or your flange strip at 1 3/4. That's one size. Okay. Now I've done that. That's this one right here, and you're gonna sew them together. Okay. So the bigger one is going to be my piping. The shorter one is my binding. So you have to figure out which is which. Sewing them together, I'm gonna press it down. I don't know if you guys do that to seal your seams. Then you're gonna get this, see how it is? And you're going to iron it, and you're going to make sure that it's, okay, let me do this.
So it's 3 inches. What's this called again?
Yeah, hold on. Flange.
Madeline, do you just fold it in half?
You fold it in half, but you need to iron one side of it down.
Oh,
Okay, your seam. Just make sure that, so that it's nice and crisp. You're gonna fold it in half.
Madeline, is it a 1/4 inch seam allowance?
When you sew it? No, it is not. I'm gonna explain that. Okay, so you're gonna fold it in half, like your 2 1/2 inch binding. Okay, iron it down. Okay. There's your flange. This is the bigger flange, okay? That's how it is. Can we see it? Okay. So, decide what color you want. Okay, I don't have a sample. Where is it? Okay. So you're gonna sew this on the back side. And the reason you're gonna sew it on the back side is because of the flange. Okay. So, it's like this. If you do it the other way, it's not gonna come out. You're gonna have to rip out, okay? So, you're gonna sew it.
so flange down.
Yeah, let me sew it. Flange down, right, exactly. Do it this way. Oops, sorry. It is not 1/4 inch. I'm used to that. It is 3/8 of an inch. Okay.
The flange?
No, your seam. Your seam is 3/8. It's really important. Okay.
Bigger.
So get your ruler. You went through that class. Mark it on your sewing machine. You put your ruler up next to your needle and measure 3/8, and then you're going to sew 3/8. Okay. All the way around. All the way around. So, see your seam? Much bigger. Okay, I made the mistake of not doing it. So then you're going to turn it. Should meet. And, wait, what did I do wrong? I did something wrong. What did I do? Okay, don't listen to me. Stop. Stop. Right. Okay, this was my binding, okay? And this was, no, the green was my binding, and the flange was the blue, okay? So when I sewed it, then I'm gonna turn it, and it should be like that, okay? So when you turn it,
You have to turn it around.
yes, you have to turn it around the back side. See, it would meet. See how pretty that would be?
The flange is a larger piece.
The flange.
Yes.
The flange is, yes, the flange is the larger piece. The binding is the smaller.
So then this one's backward.
Well, I don't know what I did there. Here, let me try the other one. Okay, the other size is the strip 1 1/2. Your binding strip is 1 1/2, And your flange is 2 inches. Okay, so this is my flange, it's 2 inches, okay?
The flange is 2 inches.
The flange is 2 inches, the binding is 1.5. Okay.
So this up on top is a different technique?
No, it's just a different size.
More or less.
This is a smaller size. The second one is see how small that one is?
To the black?
Yeah, this is your flange. This is, your flange is much smaller.
Oh, okay.
If you want a wider flange, those are the 2 different sizes,
Oh,
okay? Where's my other sample? This
So
one?
then it would be like this.
Okay, so she's
Yes.
doing this one on the bottom.
Yes. Yes, it's like this, that's how it came out.
Yeah, it was just backwards.
It's just backwards. Thank you, I need an assistant.
The wider one.
See, I waited so long for this class, that's why. Anyway, this is the smaller one. So your second measurement is your smaller flange. I like the bigger one, you can see more of it, but it depends on your colors, okay? And you're gonna do it on the back side again, like this, and turn it over. And there you go, you want it to meet up, and you're gonna hand sew it again on both sides. So it's nice on baby quilts, you know, yeah.
So Madeline, when you're sewing it down, are you sewing it on the flange or are you sewing it on
Yes.
the binding?
You're sewing it on, I'll tell you in a minute. You would have to ask.
Hand, on your hand? No, the hand sewing in the corner.
You're sewing it on your flange.
You're
You're
sewing
sewing,
on the
the flange is showing.
Okay.
Okay, because when you turn it, your flange is gonna be showing.
Okay.
That's why it's always on the back side that you're sewing. Yeah, and then you're gonna hand stitch it up, okay? Does that make sense to you guys?
Yes.
Do you ever do it on a machine, Madeline?
You mean machine stitch it down? You can. You know, with the fancy stitch, you could do that. That's why I like to use the serpentine. Someone showed me that and I really like it because
Catch yourself.
it catches, yeah, it catches.
You did that.
The straight line doesn't.
You did that at the retreat, the serpentine.
Yeah, I did.
Boy, that was pretty.
Yeah, it's very pretty and I find this.
serpentine, how does it look in the back?
The same.
It's the serpentine.
It's a serpentine.
So it would meet up in
It
the back
catches
as
it,
well?
yeah, it does.
So the curves aren't very wide then, if you're doing the
You can make it wide or you can make it small. It just depends on your machine.
So you
know.
really wanted to catch the front,
You want it
because
to
that's
catch
the
the-
front that's gonna come undue.
Right, and so you would do it in the
longest-
front.
Yeah, the longest the front catches it, the back doesn't matter.
Stitch in the ditch on that?
You could, but I have not been successful with it, but you could. Whatever works for you. The stitch in the ditch, I just never end up catching it. I guess you could do the stitch in the ditch on the flange. Yeah, you know, try it. Okay, anybody else need the measurements? So that's my part. The next part is,
Thank you.
Thank you.